So inevitably, when you do want to start a Dungeons & Dragons game, as a DM, you will run into a player who says,
I found this really cool homebrew class online. Can I use it?
And your answer will most likely be, possibly, let me just take a look at it first. And you'll be expected in the short minutes before a session to figure out if this is going to be balanced to use in your game or not. And unless the answer is very obviously, glaringly no, which a lot of the time it is, you're not going to know if you say yes if something was unbalanced until a few levels down the road. So the question becomes, how do we know when something is unbalanced quickly? One of the easiest ways for me to tell is to ask myself, how many features does it give at a specific level? Usually a class will only give you 1 or 2 distinct features that are only at certain levels when you level up through a class. So if you read a paragraph and it says something like, at second level, you can dash as a bonus action. Whenever you do, you gain a +5 bonus to AC and can cast the darkness spell at will until the end of your next turn, as long as there are 4 or 5 out. Or if there's more than 1 or 2 features that say at X level this happens, where X is whatever level. At first, it can be a little intimidating to try and tell the difference between that and a regular ability, but the guiding light that I always follow is this. A feature is usually worded as, you can do this thing, here are the conditions you must follow to do that thing. So, for example, you conjure a sword. You can do anything with this sword that you could do with a normal sword. Or, you summon a thing. It can do these 3 actions. If you find yourself reading on and having more than one of those things, then it probably needs some further review. The second thing I always look out for is it vague? I want to try and distinguish this from saying it's too short or too long. I mean specifically that when you read it, you don't understand actually what it does. Usually, when you're reading through a feature, it will reference very basic game mechanics, and it will just say, this is a variant thing that you can do from those mechanics. If you find yourself asking questions like, when is this even going to be relevant? How long does it take for them to do this? How many times can they do this? Do they need to stop doing something else to do this, or can they just do it? Or even, does that actually cost you anything, or can you just do it? It probably needs some further review, or it's unbalanced. Other than those two, there's not really much I can say to help you in a quick glance know if an entire class or subclass or magic item is balanced for your game. Arguably, even some of the WotC content that comes out is already unbalanced for D&D itself. But something to remember about official content and also very high quality third-party content is that it's been play-tested. And that means, to some degree at least, it is certifiably balanced. Ultimately, it's just important for you to remember that if something seems like it breaks your game, it probably does. And you should be able to build that trust and rapport with your playgroup to make sure that if it does break the game and it stops being fun, y'all can work together to change it. But that's just a theory. Can we really play however we want?